Good afternoon, everybody. Marty Richards with Richland Center Tourism here again, and it is mud season. That's true. But really, what we get excited about this time of year, it's actually maple syrup season. So just in the last few days, I've started to learn quite a bit about maple syrup, saps of maple trees, and how that process. There's a lot going on. I didn't realize that. I thought it was just hang out, get some sap, boil it down. You got maple syrup. There's more than that going on. So today we have a real cool treat because we have Dean Bauer with Bauer Valley Maples.
Yep.
That's it. The Bauer Valley Maples. And Dean's got quite the operation going on here. You've been working in the maple business for how long?
So we took over from my mom and dad at about the year 2000.
Okay. And they had been making maple syrup for how long?
Pretty much all their life. My dad said he made syrup as long as he could remember.
Yeah, so that's a lot of years, a lot of knowledge. And in your valley here, plenty of maples.
Yeah.
So Dean's going to do a little bit of a educational piece here on how maple syrup or how maple sap is boiled down to maple syrup. And one of the things I was fascinated by, just took a look, how many bulk tanks do you have?
Quite a few. Quite a few here, and we have a lot of them out in the woods too.
So several bulk tanks that they actually have full of sap that they boil down, and just kind of take us through that process a little bit of how that works.
So that we tap the trees and then we gather the sap, and it takes roughly 40 gallons of sap to make 1 gallon of syrup. And this year is taking almost exactly that because the sugar content in the sap is around 2%. Which is 40 to 1. Mm-hmm. Some years it's sweeter this year, but so then we tap as many trees as we can. We're running on, I think, 14 different farms right now. So we buy sap from the local farmers, so they bring it to us, we buy it, and then they'll come and filter it. They'll test the sugar content in it, and we buy it by the sugar content. Then it's pumped and stored into the bulk tanks. We got our bulk tanks inside so we can keep them cool. They're not working bulk tanks, but they're inside on a shaded roof, so you want to keep the sap cool. So then we run it through a reverse osmosis, and that'll take 75% of the water off the sap before we evaporate it.
So real quick, that's a pretty big step for you because that's less energy to boil it down.
Absolutely,
is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
We used the same operation 3 years ago before the reverse osmosis. We were cooking around the clock. And on the days the trees didn't run, we would have enough sap supply. We'd have to keep right on it cooking.
Wow.
Now with reverse osmosis, we cook about every 3 days and then about 9 hours.
Okay.
So I cooked last night, and I think we went through over 4,000 gallons of sap, and so I made somewhere around 65 to 70 gallons of syrup.
Wow.
In about 9 hours, 8 hours.
So hold on, that was how many gallons of sap?
I think, I didn't total that up, but I'd take it close to 4,000.
4,000?
But we start out with an empty cooker, so it takes quite a bit just to fill a cooker so you can light a match. So okay. Some of it stays in the cooker.
So this is your evaporator where you actually do the boil.
Yep.
Okay. And then in your situation, because this is kind of high tech compared to some I've seen, so then literally you don't carry buckets or anything. It is pumped over?
So yeah, everything at the cook shack is pumped. It's gravity fed when the people bring in the sap, and then it's pumped into the bulk tanks. And then off the evaporator, when it's at pure syrup, then it's pumped into the back room into our finishing room.
Okay, so we're going to take a little step in here into your finishing room, and we're going to see where you do your bottling, and then what else happens other than, do you chill it? Is that, am I seeing a chiller here? What am I, excuse me.
So then you bring, the syrup is pumped back here, and then we boil it down in batches. So I get it really close to syrup off the evaporator, and it's hard to finish on a wood-fired evaporator. So I pump it in batches. It's almost a pure syrup, and so I bring it in and finish it off in batches, maybe 15 to 20 gallon batches back here. And then it's brought the pure syrup on a gas-fired finish pan.
Okay.
That way, when it gets to finished syrup, I can just shut the fire off.
Okay.
It's on a wood fire once I'm all over on the floor.
Still going.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I bring it in doing batches on a gas fire, and then the syrup is really dirty. It's got niter. It's called sugar sand. Everyone nicknames it sugar sand, but it's niter. So we need to get the niter out of the syrup. So then, once it's at pure syrup, then I'll run it through my press and pump it into my boiler.
Okay.
and that'll take all the niter out.
So that's taking impurities. That's a filter,
Yeah.
basically. Okay.
Yep, that's a filter press.
I guess I know beer making, and
Yeah.
that looked like a chiller to me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No,
But it's a
that's all.
filter. Okay.
Yeah, it's a pneumatic press that
Okay.
pumps into the water jacketed boiler. We always want a bottle around 180 to 185 degrees. So this is a water jacketed boiler. I can set the temperature of this boiler at 100, whatever temperature I want it, and all the syrup all day long will be that temperature.
Neat. And then bottle ready to go.
Bottle ready to go.
I know in the Greater Richland Center area, there's a couple of different retail places. I know Christie's
Yep.
Sunrise
Yep.
Bakery is one. Can you share some other places?
So yeah, we sell the Christie. We sell at UW Provisions at Middleton and Sun Prairie. We do Car Valley Cheese. We do the McKenzie Center in Poynette.
Okay.
And we do JB Sales in Arkdale and
Yep.
Necedah.
Yep.
And then I did road construction, obviously from my hat. I retired, but I saw a lot of syrup at road construction with my friends. They
Sure.
call me the Maple Man.
Well, that's fitting. So, well, very cool. Dean.
And I
Thanks.
live on Lake Wisconsin, so I saw a lot just word of mouth.
Just sure.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing your operation with us. It's a pretty big deal. I mean,
It
this
is.
is your,
Yep.
your mom and dad probably didn't envision this
No.
when they kind of had.
We're
you take
probably
it over.
making more in a day than they used to make in a whole season. So,
I bet.
yeah.
I bet. Well, very cool. Thank you so much. So that's Bauer Valley Maples.
Yep.
We know at Christie's in Richland Center. I heard Car Valley Cheese as well, which they're throughout the area. A couple of different places you can get locally made and locally sourced maple syrup. You can, and one thing I've learned about maple syrup, you can do many different things.
Yep.
One of my favorites, I'll be honest, is the old-fashioned using maple syrup. Is really good, and it's a healthier sugar actually.
Yes.
So.
And,
well,
and then also, I belong to the Wisconsin Maple Producers Association, so you can look up wisconsinmaple.org, and you'll find us on there, and you'll find all the other local producers in the state. So if you're from other parts of the state and you're looking for good maple syrup, you can go on that website and you can find a producer near you. If you want to do a tour, you're welcome to come here. We do tours all the time. Just drive in. We're right along the road.
just show up, you're here. That's
Show
kinda
up,
what
you're
I'm
here,
gonna say.
yeah.
Yep.
Yep. And,
That way people can't leave. I just show up, so
Yep,
then they can't
yep.
say no.
Yep. If you come with a beer in your hand and
It's
then share,
okay.
that's good.
That's okay. And you said it's mapleproducers.org?
Yep. I think no, Wisconsin WizMaple.org.
Wizmaple.org. Okay, and that's you can find a maple syrup producer in your area. So
If you want to do a tour or something,
yeah,
yes.
you bet. Hey, thank you so
You're
much for
welcome.
taking
You
your
betcha.
time. Very interesting. Again, that's Bauer Valley Maples. Look for their label. You'll find it in local areas. We hope that you learned a little bit about making maple syrup, the work it takes, and time. It's time consuming,
Yep.
really, isn't it? So for Richland Center Tourism, I'm Marty Richards. Have a great day.